Okay, any other announcements? Jump right in. There is news on the Grape 1 and Grape 2 deployment. We do have another Grape 2 returning. It has been long awaited. If John is here,
Yes.
do you know what the timeline is for that? For
No clue. He didn't send me. I think I got an email from him that it has been sent, but I have not seen it here yet.
But I mean, and again, no pressure. It takes however long it takes. But how long about do you think it would take to get the Grape ready to redeploy?
Here, probably about a week.
Okay.
I had to reprint a new case for the first one, and I put that back together yesterday.
Okay. I will talk to Gary then about picking a new home for it then.
But the question is, do we destroy the data that's on the hard drive? Do we copy the data that's on the hard drive? What do we do with it?
That's a great question. Well, I'd like to err away from destroying it.
Yeah, I would too, but it's at 10 gig a day, it's not something you just casually pass on to a drive.
Right. We may want to just go ahead and substitute the hard drive now and send that one along to.
Well, I don't have any hard drives to substitute. We have to buy them.
I know. So we should probably talk to Frizzell about that.
Yeah. And my grade 2 right now is at 70% filled since we deployed it in April or March. So it's coming up on, I need to start looking at that pretty seriously because they be filling up.
Yeah. Yeah, I might be able to. I want to know what the ultimate plan is. So I'd like to talk to Dr. Frizzell first, but there might also be room in the budget. So it might be worth talking to Dr. Zorman.
Yeah, I want to see the drives are 200 a piece. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think we probably have budget left for that, but we want to make sure it's consistent with
We're
whatever.
going to talk about buying 30 of them, so or 35 of them.
How
Well,
big did you put in them?
all of them, but just for the returning Grape so that it can be redeployed.
Oh, I see.
But when we talked about this before, we didn't want to alert, like, do a whole search and alert the potential new hosts and then have it be like a long lag time before they'd actually receive their Grape.
Right.
So, you know, get them ready to deploy a little bit.
Yeah, some of the directories have to be scrubbed and metadata taken off and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, there's a little bit of work involved.
But speaking of Gary, there is also an update on the Grape ones. Which was in the email chain, but I'm not sure if Gary's on today.
Well, he's at a NASA conference.
Right. Frizzell. Okay.
Yeah.
There are 5 more Grape 1 stations.
He's a digital RF.
Yeah. Which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, I received my DRF station the other day and bench tested it. Looks okay, and now I'm in the process of trying to configure some power and a place to squeeze it in my shack. So that should be hopefully up and running by this weekend.
Put his name on it.
They did a good job packing it because it had obviously been dropped off the truck, but everything inside was okay.
Oof.
Yeah, the corner of the box was all smashed in, but there was 2 inches of bubble wrap and foam and boxes inside of boxes, so it was unscathed.
Hopefully the hard drive survived.
We'll be watching the map. Okay. Any other updates on Grape 1 and 2 stuff? Gary's not here.
Well, I have some, I don't recall if I talked about this last week, but I do have a little bit more information on calibration of the Grape One DRF system.
Yes.
Did I talk about that last week in this meeting? I don't remember, but
Yes, you did a little, but
okay. We do have, did I show you this chart about applying W1XP's calibration factors to an improved plot?
I believe so. You had a oops. This one?
No, it goes down to minus 95 dBm. I'm able to put real numbers on. Okay, yeah.
Go ahead and
Let me show this real quick. If you've already seen it, just let me know and we'll just move on. W1XP did some work with putting a signal generator and putting several different known signal levels in.
We just lost your audio, Bill.
How about now?
Nope.
Any better? Now, is that audio? No audio?
Oh, there you are.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, W1XP did some work with putting known signal levels in from minus 45 all the way down to minus 95. And so you see that here. And this allowed me to come up with the equation to relate the numbers that come out of the Grape 1 DRF system to actual dBm measures. And so we're going to see if we can get this plot working this week on the server. No guarantees on that because I still have to make sure that I can figure out what to do on the RX 888 systems because the calibration is completely different there and I don't have this kind of data to work with. What would be great if somebody would give me a plot like, well, not plot, but a data set like this for using a Whisper Daemon system, put in half a dozen different signal levels, running each for about an hour, so that I can plot that out and see where it comes out of the numbers, because the range of data values I'm getting runs up to like 7,000. That can't be dBm. That's got to be, I think, some linear number that the RX 888 system outputs into DRF. And there's a lot of computations in between. So anyway, if somebody could do this, what W1XP has done here with the RX 888, with an RX 888 system, and then let me know when they've done it, I can download that, then I can apply the calibration factor.
Bill, I hate you brought up a subject that I think is everyone's tired of hearing about, but the problem with that is that there's no single number in the AAA because of the AGC. So until we resolve how to deal with that and how to communicate a AGC number, a gain setting, and add that to the metadata, then there's no we can't supply a similar chart to the
Right,
way.
right, you're right. Sorry about that. Well, what would you like me to do regarding plotting these files? Just leave it like it is for the ARC-888?
I think you know what I know you should plot in logarithmic, but you just have to you can't you just kind of have the numbers are dB full scale, you know, relative to full scale rather than in fact you have the same thing here. What you're saying is this is the audio level in dBm, but you know for I think for the radio science purposes, what we want to know is what was the RF signal level that generated a minus 45 dB full scale, right? dB level, or I guess it's the dBm because it's in, but in any case, what was the RF level that produced these numbers that you have on your chart? Because that's ultimately what a propagation researcher, I think, would want to know. Not what was the audio coming out, but what is the
Well,
and that, but
these,
for both of those, it should be really straightforward. I mean, you take an RF signal generator and feed it into your Grape 1 and
Stop
Grape 2,
talking.
right?
Let him answer.
Rob, this is precisely what you're looking at here. This is a result of doing exactly
Oh,
what you just said.
sorry. I'm sorry. I thought that you were saying it was the audio level, uh, but that's an RF level.
These are RF levels. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Pardon me. Okay. Well, then you have, yeah, okay, you've got the right data for.
Stop
I have,
talking.
yeah, I have it for the Grape 1 DRF system.
Okay.
Um, all right, I'll figure out something on the ARC-888 until we figure out what we're going to do with regard to the AGC question.
Okay.
There is a way to deal with that, although it involves bloating up the data quite a bit because you can't, well, if you have access to that when the system is running, you can include metadata for every sample that indicates what the gain level is, and then we can adjust for that. Digital RF will support that. It will make the file bigger, but maybe that's okay. I don't know. Depends on how we want to use these charts. But anyway, that's all I had. Back to Ned.
Yeah, Rob, what is the state of that with the RX-888? I know we were talking extensively about that.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to elaborate this point, but that I haven't done anything about it because I don't know what to do.
Well, I know we were talking with Phil about how to get that into the metadata and stuff.
Well, we'd have to tell us what form where it goes. Each 2 minutes, a AAA system adjusts the gain every 2 minutes. Well, I shouldn't say that at startup time. So right now, so it's a single number forever at the moment, but that's not a good solution. But that's ideally, I think you don't need to have each 2 minutes. It can change. We can change it. Whisper Demon can change it in the
Yeah.
AAA.
Oh, I know. I had one question about the Grape 2. Did we put into the configuration data the jumper settings, John?
Yes, the gain is in there.
Yeah, so the same sort of thing could be done with the RX-888. We just need to put in what its AGC value is once it's set.
Well, if you're gonna do that, then I can turn on AGC and that'd be great. It just
Well, what I mean is whatever the gain setting is, not the AGC. We don't want it to be changing, but once you determine what it is, it can be part of the configuration.
well, it can be one. I mean, it could be just one. Right now, it would be one number.
That's what I mean. You wouldn't, we're not probably set up to do it dynamically, but once you set a number, you could enter it into a configuration file and it would be known.
Yeah,
Then we'd
Scott
be
Newell
able
has
to
done some
direct
work.
input to output.
I think Scott has done some experiments with the Python code
He has. Yeah, he sent me a DRF file yesterday with additional metadata in it with the gain theoretical gain, or, you know, for test purposes, gain data in it for each of the 9 channels of the system. Now, I don't know if it's, at this point, these are just numbers. They're not based on actual numbers, but it's possible to do. It's very easy for me to work with once we have it. So
That's good. Well, if Scott sent me an email on the subject I haven't yet looked at where he went into that. So I will be looking at that and try to incorporate it in his code if appropriate, as appropriate.
yeah, just let me know what you'd like to do, because we can have it in metadata for the whole system, for the whole observation, or you can have individual metadata for each 2 minutes across all active channels, and we can deal with it either way. There's plenty of room for it in DRF. I mean, it'll make the file larger, but I think that's okay because they're not that big now. So
Oh, that'd be great. I mean, well, if you can deal with it, then there'd be 720 for each time channel. There'd be 720 gain settings per day, and each 2 minutes would be potentially a different gain setting. So I don't know if Scott implemented it that way, but I will put on my to-do list to do that.
and it would be 720 times the number of active channels, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So there's 7,200 of those gain settings in upload for the 10 channels that Whisper Demon uploads.
Right, Scott just posted in the chat that he did not do damage, but I mean, step at a time. We'll get to that. We'll get to it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Any other comments on that? So we'll come back to Whisper 2 in a second. I do need to check. Kong, do you feel like giving a Grape 2 update?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, my current working project is still the conversion of legacy CSV files over to the DRF without losing any of the information. Yeah, besides that, nothing else much is going on besides besides my thesis presentation is coming up soon. Yeah.
That announcement. That's a stressful announcement. Still.
Yeah. First of 2. Yeah.
Okay. Get excited. All right. I think that's it for Grape 2 updates. John, any updates from you?
Not really, other than I printed a new case and fixed the one that got smashed, so.
Perfect. Okay. Bill, any updates on moving things to the University of Alabama server?
Well, we have a meeting with my little programming team of students tomorrow, and I expect that the outcome of that meeting should be first a command I can use to create the user IDs, stations, and instruments for all of the data that's going to be imported. Next, after that, we have to develop the code that will, once the station is created, import it in and then create the necessary trigger files to get the data added into the database. I have a copy of all of the historical data up through about October 20th. And we've got methods for getting more of it, but a couple of things we need to do. So far, we have 66,000 files that I've identified that need to be, not exactly, but 66,000 and change that need to be imported and added to the database from the historical data going back to 2019 or so. And so, so at some point, we within this group, I guess we need to talk about how to start getting systems adjusted so that the data comes directly up to the personal space with a station network server. We can continue to collect it on the WWV club server as well if we want, or we can run them both for a while and then switch over. But I've been trying to deal with these other little issues first before we start trying, because that's going to be a bit of a project to get everybody to add an uploader to their system.
I think Dr. Frizzell originally volunteered Kung for this, but Kung, do you still feel up to this with your thesis presentation coming up?
Who handle?
So not, I will just take you off this list.
So it is part of the process of what I'm working on, but
Okay.
yeah, it wouldn't be now. Yeah, all right. Most likely, the work for that will be starting after my thesis presentation, which is December 6th.
Yeah, let's just plan to start on that in January. There's no need to have this hanging over you now when you're trying to put a thesis presentation together.
And after you
Okay.
finish, probably not gonna, it won't really be worth diving into something in depth right before holiday break.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Since I do have techniques in place for getting the historical data off the club server and managing it. So,
Okay. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Rob, any update on the antenna project?
Don't want to. No, I think Michael's on vacation, so he hasn't made any changes, and I don't think we don't have any new information. So we'll wait to next week.
Okay. And I don't think there are any other Whisper updates than what we talked about, except has the do you know that if the Grape has been has managed to get to the Antarctic yet?
Oh, it's on its way. It's
Okay.
in Germany, but it has to go through customs and then hopefully it arrives. It does that before December 1st when the ship leaves Bremen or something and heads for the Antarctic. So that's so we won't hear anything about it. Won't get installed until the late January or February when Professional or Harche down there hit their station. So I'm trying to bring up some more 888 systems, Whisper 888 systems in Europe, and so that we do have a good monitoring site and very knowledgeable hams in the Netherlands who have a 888, and they, I think, are contributing. I haven't looked at their I'll have to look and see what what their data looks like. So, but we'll have a couple more that are coming online that will be contributing Grape data from Europe. So that's a kind of a
Rob,
side project.
pardon me, but is Michael incommunicado, away from email? I haven't heard from him in a while. I've been trying to get a hold of him.
He has been traveling a lot and giving presentations and attending conferences. So I had to ping him a couple of times to get him to respond, at which point he apologized and just said he hadn't been.
Okay, I'll give him another try. Thank you.
Yeah, give him another try.
Okay. And Dr. Frizzell is not on today, but Gamal, did you still want to give a ray trace update?
Yep.
You seem to really appreciate this.
Thank you, Rachel. I'm just continuing on my point in how to use FarLab to get results that are very close to reality. Just a wrap. I've been working on simulating communications, successful one between a transmitter, which is WWV at Colorado, to a receiver at Springbrook, Scranton, Pennsylvania, at 3 frequencies: 5 megahertz, 10 megahertz, and 15 megahertz. The point is, we have successful communication, which means we have array that exits from WWV and directly strikes into the receiver at Springbrook. But the point is, how can we know that these results are real values? I mean, the result that we are seeking is the ionospheric absorption loss, the total loss. So we have a number which is in decibel. Till the point Dr. David McGow asked me that the absorption loss is in range of 400 decibels, but till the moment they are at range of 5 decibels. And I'm until the moment investigating why FarLab gives me this very low result. Perhaps it might be, I mean, a kind of percentage. I'm looking forward to this factor or scale factor that gets it from 5 decibels into hundreds of decibels. But the point is, we have the RI model 2016 that is documented by Dr. Cervera, the inventor for FarLab. But I have found inside MATLAB, in the code itself, that he is using the RI model 2020. So we have gap of 4 years. So my question is till the moment, how can we get, even if we get the IRR 2024, how can we know that these results are real ones? Do we have some records from WWV to Scranton at a certain day?
Real is quite the question when it comes to models. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to have a lot of, considering they just celebrated their station opening. I mean, well, maybe Frizzell has some station logs to show that he had like activity around those certain times that you're concerned about, but just because a link does or does not exist doesn't necessarily mean that the ray trace is, validated. It's taking what IRI is giving it, which is just as much data as the scientific community has managed to cram into IRI to create a smooth approximation of something that we know is not smooth or homogeneous, and then perform a differential equation solver on it. So just take it with a lot of grains of salt. It's not necessarily going to be reality. And the ray trace is also in itself just an approximation of the wave pattern. So just because you can't necessarily find or locate which specific angle of the ray intersected with the station doesn't necessarily mean that a station isn't going to be able to hear it. There's a lot of caveats there. There's a lot of ways that signals can bounce to that PyLab at the moment does not do, because it's just running an ODE solver. So, grain of salt.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So I'm working on extending this to have a useful product. I just don't want to end it as okay. We have simulations. Yes, hooray, we have simulation. I just I'm dreaming about linking it to the real values. So I hope it works.
What you could start to do, so about a year ago now, there was some work where we were taking Grape data and modifying the IRI data with it. But that kind of has to be carefully done because there's a lot of assumptions that need to get made to assume that there's like a layer height change as opposed to like a deionization period. So like around dawn and sunset, you have like presumably a lot of change in the ionization of the layers themselves. So it's not necessarily fair to say it's just like a traveling wave that we can really like simply just like whack on to like a computer model and then move on with our day. It kind of gets a little harder. So I could send you some stuff for that if you'd like. We'll also possibly talk about it on Monday, which I need to send out a reminder email for.
Have you set up any previous meetings on Monday? Have I missed anyone?
First one, but it's
I-
the
Oh, I didn't know about it.
well, it's the science data meeting that Frizel's been talking about for a while now. Presumably everyone is available at 10 a.m. Fingers crossed. So I just need to get a list together and send out a invite. But there might be time to discuss incorporating the Grape data in that way, because I feel like simulating Grape ionospheric conditions or really projecting the Grape data back onto our ionospheric model and then seeing how that affects the ray tracer is kind of an interesting result. It's still like with all modeling attempts though, you still have to take the whole the word reality with a grain of salt.
Okay. Thanks, Richard, for this rich feedback. Have you heard me? Oh. Hello. Thank you. Okay.
You're good. I mean, a little disheartening. I just got on to be like, well, grain of salt. Does anyone else have any comments or questions or concerns on the ray tracing? Oh, more mic problems.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for this feedback.
Yes, you're good. Hopefully I'll see you on Monday.
Yeah. And sorry for being absent last Monday, but
Oh,
I
no, but
think I didn't know about it.
you weren't absent last Monday. It's starting this week, so presumably I'll send out the Frizel couldn't make it this Monday, so there is no reason to start. Okay. Any other questions, comments, or discussion? So if not, I will go ahead and end the meeting at 6:73.
88.
Okay.
Nice.